Hi violinists of YouTube. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a topic that's often taboo to talk about, and that is performance anxiety. Performance anxiety is something that we all suffer, or something that we definitely have experienced when we perform on stage as musicians. But today's video is about me sharing my thoughts with you and how I combat performance anxiety and how you can too, and how you can finally conquer and defeat performance anxiety once and for all. I also want to be upfront that I am not a doctor, and full disclosure, I don't have any medical degrees on what the psychology is behind performance anxiety and the research behind it, but I figured I'd share some of my tips with you that has worked for me. Let's define performance anxiety for a moment. Performance anxiety is an extreme nervousness when you're about to go up on stage and perform in front of an audience. And this is just not for musicians. This is for comedians. This is for actors. This is for any kind of performing artist who has to go on stage to entertain or to perform an art of some kind. Now, the reason why performance anxiety is something that we all struggle with is because you're going on stage and you're going to be performing in front of a lot of people. And at that moment when you're on stage, you are fighting two things, fight or flight, which is the two basic human reactions that we have as humans. You could either fly from the situation or fight against the situation. And for those of us who often struggle with performance anxiety, you have to combat both. And this is where the whole talk of performance anxiety begins, because for me, it's often difficult for me to explain how you combat nerves, because everybody combats nerves in a different way. And especially me as a teacher, as a pedagogue, I do my best to educate my students on some approaches that I use to help them be successful on stage. So let's talk about some of those methods. So first thing that I do is to set myself up for success, meaning that I try to be as prepared as I possibly can for a performance so that none of the bad things will happen to me. For instance, if you're not familiar with the score, or if you're not familiar with the piano part, as a violinist for me in particular, then you're going to often struggle because you don't have the music memorized in and out, forwards and backwards, and that is very important to achieve. So prepare yourself for success, because by preparing yourself ahead of time, you're giving your body the necessary tools to be prepared for the situation. Another thing that I like to talk about when trying to talk to my students about performance anxiety is really just make sure that you are thinking positive thoughts when you are on stage. We never like to think negative thoughts, because negative thoughts, for me at least, creates a lot of tension in my body. And we all know that if we have a lot of negative thoughts in our brain and in our head, then nothing really goes well. Not even just music, but also in life. You know, if we don't think positive thoughts, then you'll fail. Something that's helped me recently is if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. This is something that I want you to take home with you. If you fail to plan, then you're gonna have a 100% success rate of failing. 100%. Number 3 is to be in the right state of mind when you're about to prepare for a performance. Something that I was taught is that you can't play well if you don't feel well. And if you don't feel well, then you can't perform at your peak, at your 100%. So you want to make sure that you are in a place where you are having like the right practice mindset, where you are having good lessons and you're achieving progress all the time. I cannot tell you how many times where I see students who fail to plan in advance, and therefore their performances don't go well. It is my job as a pedagogue to continue creating successful traits for my students, so that way they won't feel nervous. They'll feel confident, they'll feel prepared, they know exactly what to expect when they go out on stage. And that's definitely what I encourage you to do also. Also, if you're finding value in this video about performance anxiety, and I hope these tips have helped you so far, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, so that way you get videos like this also. One of my last tips that I would offer anyone who is dealing with performance anxiety is to forgive yourself. Meaning, if you make mistakes on stage, despite all the practice that you have made, you have to forgive yourself during the performance and after the performance, because we don't play like robots, and we are not robots. We are human beings, and we are prone to making mistakes. That is a fact. And if you set yourself up to a 100% success rate and you only have one goal in mind, then you are definitely going to fail. But if you have various goals during the performance, and let's say you miss 2 of those goals, but you have achieved like 10 other goals, then that is something to celebrate. That is something to be really grateful for, because that will also help you be successful on stage. For me, that is actually the biggest tip that I can give you, is to forgive yourself. Because if you forgive yourself of all the little mistakes, then you could actually have the willpower to continue preparing for the next performance and getting better for the next performance. Even to this day, I try to continue getting better, because if I just stay the same, then I plateau and even decline in my musicianship and in my playing. If you are someone who battles with performance anxiety and have some helpful tips, leave a comment down below for the community to read about some of the things that have worked for you, because I'm also interested to know, as a pedagogue, as a teacher, I really want to help my students out as well. So let's get a conversation going in this community. Thanks again for watching this video. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications, so that way you get notified for when new videos come out. Hit the like button for the algorithm also. And if somebody is struggling with performance anxiety that you know of, share this video. And I hope that this video will help them as much as it helps you. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.